Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving into a huge story, a real revolution happening in Colombian media. We're talking about a legendary broadcaster, RCN Radio, which is essentially being dismantled because of some absolutely staggering financial losses. It's forcing a total reinvention. So let's break down exactly what's going on.
All right, first up, the announcement that sent shockwaves through the entire industry. And look, we're talking about the end of a true institution, a name that's been woven into the very fabric of Colombia for decades.
And there it is, right there in black and white. The Cadena Básica, RCN Radio's main basic network, is shutting down. Now, you have to understand, this isn't just a simple programming change. This is like silencing the flagship, the main artery of news for one of the country's most powerful media groups. It's a huge deal. That name right there, Juan Gassine, is so important here. You know, for generations of Colombians, his voice was RCN Radio. So to really get the weight of this closure, you have to see this network for what it was, a cultural touchstone. Its disappearance, well, it really is the end of a whole era in Colombian journalism. So that brings us to the big question, why? I mean, why would a media giant tear down one of its most famous brands? Well, the answer, like it so often is, comes down to the money. And let me tell you, these numbers are just jaw-dropping. So, in 2024, RCN Radio posted a loss of over 46 billion Colombian pesos. That is a financial hole so deep that no company, no matter how legendary, can just ignore it. And believe it or not, that was just the radio division. At the same time, its sister company, RCN Television, was also bleeding cash, losing almost 33 billion pesos in the exact same year. When you put these two numbers together, it's not just a bad year. This points to a massive systemic crisis. This really puts the scale of the challenge into perspective. Both of these media giants, and they're both owned by the powerful Ardila Lülle Group, are just hemorrhaging money. That's why this revolcón, this huge shakeup, isn't really a choice. It's a desperate move for survival. This financial crisis is what's driving every single one of these changes.
Okay, so you're facing that kind of brutal financial reality. How in the world do you wipe the slate clean? Well, it starts with a pretty radical simplification of their entire radio lineup. The difference here is just stark. On one side, you've got the old guard going out, the main news-focused Cadena Básica, the sports station Antena 2, and the AM news of Radio Red, all gone. And in their place, a laser focus on just two flagship brands, FM and Alerta Bogotá. It is a massive simplification.
Which brings us to the new game plan. Instead of spreading their resources thin across all these different brands, RCN is basically betting the entire house on two key stations. And each one has a very specific job to do. The new blueprint is a classic two-pronged attack. You've got FM, which is being positioned as the top-tier brand for high-level news and analysis. And then, at the same time, they're beefing up Alerta Bogotá to be the go-to station for more popular, street-level news and music aimed right at the mass audience. Two stations, two very clear targets. So overall, LOL FM, the morning news with Juan Lozano and Darcy Quinn, that's staying as the main anchor. But, and this is a big but, the sports show La Jugada with Antonio Casale is seeing its team of experts get cut in half. And they're bringing in new voices like Andrés Nieto and Eva Ray to host a new variety show. The strategy is pretty clear. Keep the star power, but with a much leaner team. Then you hop over to Alerta Bogotá, and RCN is doubling down on its popular appeal. They're pulling in huge names like the traffic guru Daniel El Tripas Tres Palacios and the super famous comedian Hassam to join the station's main host, Pacho Alerta. The goal here is pretty obvious. Create a regional powerhouse that connects with the everyday life of the city. But here's where it gets even more interesting. This whole revolution goes way beyond just radio. The master plan is to actually break down the walls between RCN's different media properties and create one single, integrated, and, they hope, profitable machine. So what happens to that iconic 93.9 FM frequency that used to be the Cadena Básica? It's being totally transformed into a music station with the likely name La FM Plus, and it's going to play 80s and 90s hits. It's a classic business move. You keep the valuable frequency active, but you slash the super high costs that come with running a 24/7 news operation. The grand strategy, the real big picture, is to erase the lines between their businesses. First, fuse the radio and TV operations. Why? So you can then go to advertisers and offer these unified ad packages that run across all your media. And finally, you create digital synergy. Things like streaming La FM's audio on the RCN TV app. The ultimate goal is to make the entire media division financially healthy as one single unit. So who are the people behind this massive undertaking? Well, it comes down to two key executives. Jorge Lalo Correa, who is a sales leader for the entire media group, and Ricardo Alarcon, a veteran who they brought over from their big rival Caracol Radio. Their mission is crystal clear: create a leaner, cheaper, and more youth-focused operation that can finally turn a profit. So what does the immediate future actually look like? Well, these changes aren't just some ideas on a whiteboard. Nope, they're happening right now, with firm dates already set for this new era to kick off.
And the timeline here is super aggressive. Alerta Bogotá FM already launched on its new frequency back on May 5th. And next up, that new music project on 93.9 FM is set to go live on August 4th. This isn't some distant plan. The transformation is happening as we speak.
And if you want to understand just how desperate the cost-cutting really is, get this. RCN actually tried to return its regional AM frequencies to the government just to save money. The request was denied by the government, who argued it would hurt radio access in remote parts of the country. But it just goes to show you that absolutely nothing was off the table. Which leaves us with this one crucial question. Is RCN's radical surgery a brilliant blueprint for how legacy media can actually survive in the 21st century? Or are we just witnessing the final, painful broadcast for traditional, talk-based radio as we've always known it? It's a story that everyone in media all over the world is going to be watching very, very closely. Thank you for joining us on The Explainer.